Chief Administrative Officer. Hey, Brian, welcome back to KEEL. What's up, man? How you been?
Hey, good morning, folks. Glad to see you got your phones working enough today.
Let's talk trash today, if you don't mind.
What
Hey, let's talk some trash.
What really happened? What have you been able to determine about the occurrences at the sanitation department earlier this week?
Well, let me first of all say thanks for having me on first. And I want to thank the majority of the hardworking solid waste employees that are out there today in the rain serving the citizens. And that first and foremost, our employees are our biggest asset. We realize that. And the majority of them are out there today as they have been all week. Unfortunately, we had a number of employees in solid waste that decided to put politics over public service and decided to pull a stick out this week. And they've been out Monday, Tuesday. They came in for a couple hours Wednesday and left when we asked them, to stay, that we needed some help picking up because we were short because of their absences on Monday and Tuesday. And then 11 of those 15 that had been out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday called in sick yesterday.
Brian, pardon me a second. Aaron and I are both chomping at the bit.
They say it's not politics. Do you have evidence? What can you tell us to say this indeed is politically motivated?
Let me just both of you guys are pretty smart, and so is your audience. Okay, these individuals are claiming that they're not coming to work for pay issues. Okay, this is the first we've heard of this. I met with some of these employees who came up to the second floor on Wednesday, and I asked them. There's about 8 of them, same ones that have been doing the interviews. Did you call my office? Did you call the mayor's office? Did you send us an email? Did you send me an email? There are ways that are set up in the city to have grievances for pay issues to hurt. They all said, no, we didn't do that. So, okay, they haven't tried to meet with us to tell us that they have an issue, first of all. Second, it's the week of the election, okay? So I'm not going to say it's politically motivated. I'm going to let you make that decision. It's the week of the election, and they've decided to do this the week of the election, and the election is tomorrow, to disrupt city services. So those two things.
The mayor's claim that somebody in an Adrian Perkins shirt told some of these workers to do that. That was a former worker. We obviously know who he is. What can you tell? Can you give us more specifics about that?
What I can tell you is what the solid waste workers told the management of solid waste, and that was a former city employee showed up with an Adrian Perkins T-shirt on, and that doesn't mean that Mr. Perkins had anything to do with this, and told the employees to be disruptive in the next week because he was going to be the new public works director.
Who was this guy? You obviously know him.
I don't know who it is, because let me tell you what, Robert and Erin, that's the least of my worries. Operations are my worries. I want to make sure police cars roll. I want to make sure fire trucks get to fires. I want to make sure that your sanitation gets picked up. And when it didn't get picked up, that's where my focus was. And so we Mayor Tyler made that call. And so we're back on schedule today. We've had to bring in a private contractor to make up for those shortfalls from where those employees put really the citizens at risk and leaving their trash out there. And let me say this, their claims are very disingenuous. They say they haven't had a raise in 10 years, and they haven't been. That is so untrue. And you can talk to some of the city councilmen that come on your show pretty frequently. In 2015, when we came in office, no city employees other than fire and police had a raise since 2015. We gave them a 20% raise in 2016. Some of the lowest paid employees that were in solid waste were making about $8.50 an hour. Mayor Tyler passed a ordinance that paid all city employees at least $10.16 an hour. So some of those got a 20% raise. Then this year, we gave all city employees, fire, police, solid waste, anybody making less than $75,000, another 5% raise. That 5% raise is the largest across-the-board pay raise for city employees in more than 15 years. And the solid waste employees were able to enjoy that raise without any hit to their insurance, because the mayor also wanted to absorb the insurance cost for them this year so they could enjoy the full 5%. She's also done that for 2019. And so when you look at all the things that we have done for them, including buying about $3 million worth of new Packers to improve their working conditions, which they said they wanted when we first came in the door, if you look at the raises they've got, the working conditions that we've improved, everything they're saying basically is less than truthful, and they know it. And so when they say it's not about politics, it's not about this, you have to ask yourself, if the mayor has done all of that for these people, for this small group, and remember it's a small group, it's 15 people, but that's 20% of the solid waste workforce, so it can be disruptive. And they're gonna wait until the week of the election, and they didn't reach out to my office or the mayor's office or anybody else in the administration to say, hey, we've got some issues with our pay, and we'd like to have an audience with you.
Brian,
so
pardon me.
You had those things together, and you tell me if it's political.
Are those workers being less than truthful when they tell the Times, as the Times reported, that there was no guy in an Adrian Perkins T-shirt? What's the conflict there? What do you know?
Well, I think I've got 80 workers, or I'm sorry, I've got 70 workers in solid waste. The workers that met with the Times reporter, how many workers met with him?
I didn't write the Times story.
Maybe it was 2, maybe it was 3. So then
I'm quoting to you back from what the Times reported.
Right. And they're saying that they met with a group of employees. They didn't meet with all of the employees. So I'm not saying maybe these employees weren't the ones that this individual met with, or if these employees are being less than honest about everything else that I just mentioned, how can we believe them and take them for their word that they're being truthful with the Times report?
Well, you said just a couple of seconds ago, pardon me, Brian, that you didn't know whether this was political or not. If it's not political, why is it happening days from the election?
No, that's the exact question, Robert, that I just posed to you. I'm saying that I'm letting you make that decision, and I'm letting the voters make that decision based on everything else that I've just said. What do you think?
Brian, you acknowledge there's a staffing problem. You do have some that are leaving for higher paying jobs. They're going to Bossier. City council members have sent me numbers saying you are having a problem keeping workers. How do you solve that?
Yeah, that's a good question, Aaron. I appreciate it. Bossier took some of the workers, but the large problem was created because of those 15 who decided not to come to work this week and to call in sick. But Bossier is a contract service over there. Bossier also charges their households $27 a month for garbage service. So they've got a little more revenue to play with over there. Okay? We don't charge any garbage service fee in Shreveport, none, which means the general fund, your tax dollars and mine, absorb about $8 to $10 million of that garbage fee a year. And so there's a lot of issues, and that's why a lot of municipalities, look at outsourcing, solid waste and turning it over to a private company so they don't have issues like this. And that's the last thing we want to do. But it lends to that argument. And obviously, we have to work within the confines of the budget that the people give us, and that is their tax dollars and your tax dollars and the fees that we charge. And so working within there, we can only pay city employees a certain amount of money before, and leave money in the budget in case of an emergency. In this case, in 2019, that's only about $3.3 million, when really I need to have about $10 million in there. Mm-hmm. And so when we compete with solid waste, who's paying, say, somebody $18 an hour and we're paying our guys $15, but they don't calculate the health insurance costs that we provide, which is a great benefit to our city employees. They don't calculate the retirement, where they get $2.75 a year, which is a defined benefit. So after 30 years, they can leave with about 90% of their salary. Most of those companies don't even offer that. And so we don't offer just a job. We offer a career with the city, and we offer the stability of employment, because the people in Bossier City, that's a new company over there. Well, guess what? The company that was there before that company, they got fired by Bossier, which meant all of their workers got fired too. So you lose that stability too. But it's not just solid waste. It's engineers, it's IT specialists that we lose to CSRA and those people that can offer a more robust salary because they're in the private sector and they make more money. We're confined by the tax dollars that we have to be able to pay salaries, and we try to put that where it best benefits the public service. And that means giving our police officers and firefighters those 2% raises every year, year in and year out. And when we're able to give raises like we were this year to everybody, including fire and police and solid waste, to 5%, we can do that. But we still have a budget to work with. We're private industry. They have a little more flexibility.
Brian Crawford, CAO, City of Shreveport, thanks for your time.
Listen, thank you guys. Appreciate you.